Welcome to today's collective reading. Seems to be quite a bit of intense energies coming through in the meditation beforehand, as well as say sense of drawing boundaries, understanding what is where, setting your intentions, stating clearly where you are in relation to the energy that's coming through for you and your experiences. You never really know what someone's going through when you encounter them in the world. But everybody is always going through something. And sometimes they may know a lot of what it's like to be going through what the collective's going through. What guidance do we have today in the element of earth? Opening to that divine connection. What is stable? What is consistent? What you're observing, or is observing you. It's the connection to your soul tribe, your history, your ancestry, the sense that this is a process that is definitely being observed from a divine perspective, as well as, present here in the 3D. This is something that has come about before and is coming through again, and it's showing you your true, your honest reflection, and you're not necessarily certain that you like what you're seeing. You seem to be pretty confused about this. So in the assertive energies, which I use the word assertive instead of masculine, because it speaks more to the archetype that, the masculine typically has the labels underneath without having the gender label, and receptive for the feminine. And the archetypes that are typically presented in properties, aspects, attributes that are associated with receptive or feminine energy. You seem to kind of have your back to the mirror, though, right now. You're not looking into yourself, or you're looking more into yourself and not staring into your reflection. That's interesting. Seem to be very focused on something. There's a light coming through, like a gloomy background as well in this specific card that I'm looking into, which means you've been dealing with light and shadow at play and trying to figure out what is where, and who is at what point around you with their own inner shadow work, and the balance present within them between light and the darkness. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There are negative aspects that can be presented in both sides of the typical, energy. It's whether or not you choose love consistently present within both that sets it apart, that says you're on this path, working with divine love and light. There are those in darkness that are so very hungry for direction, and you come through with your flame, your torch, and you help them find their path as well. Not always are they hungry for that, and they may not always come to you in the greatest of ways, and this is something you've been experiencing throughout your own shadow work, as though you're now You've mastered your shadow work in a lot of ways, and now you're looking to share it with the world around you. However, you're finding yourself more in the underworld, where you're the only light around, and you're like, where did everything go, right? Because you're not looking at that mirror. You're wanting to find a way out of the darkness, and there is a light that you turn towards. You're not necessarily certain that this change is something that you actually co-created, because you're not seeing yourself in it, and that's why you've turned your back. You're not seeing divine love and light in it. You're feeling abandoned almost. There is change happening though, and there is an innocence present within this that has trusted that change to also become something that is going to be reflective of love and light, but it's not being shown in this reflection at this point. And because of that, you're not feeling open to really channeling that love and light into this situation, for this energy, because you feel like you've been victimized by it somehow, like you've been taken advantage of. You've done all this work and you've done all this fighting, and you've got the light present finally enough to see what the manifestation is in your reflection, and you're not seeing what you have worked so hard for. And you were trusting the divine to know your heart, because you left empty spaces, you left void in your manifestation for the divine to step in and be divine, to be of love and light. And the divine is not really seeming to be giving you that result, and you're quite confused by that. You're wanting to be receptive to another path, that maybe there's something you have not seen yet, but that reflection that you saw in that mirror, in spite of the light, it caused a lot of pain in you. So there must be some kind of, or there will become some kind of a shift in your manifesting, where either you've hit a wall and you're like, look, I can't go beyond this point. I just can't. I know myself. I'm not capable without some kind of confirmation, some kind of movement in the manifesting aspect. And maybe that's just what you're seeing, is that there is no movement. In spite of everything that you've gone through, there is no movement. So there's so many different ways that you could look at this. You're just very disappointed that what you have been longing for, focusing on, working for, is not present anywhere where you need it to be able to feel like you can breathe a bit. There is the divine coming through and asking me to definitely highlight that there are many different pathways that can come from this one reflection you're currently seeing, and you're part of that process of making that decision within this co-creation. So this is you've been brought to the table. It's what you've manifested in a more conscious way to co-create. It's no longer subconscious or higher self. It's really expressing what you desire to pull forward. You're more consciously present, and your disappointment in what you're currently seeing is very concerning to all aspects in this situation. That there are a lot of things you don't know, because you yourself, you're not divine. You're not the divine, like you're of divine. To know everything that divine knows would, wow, can you imagine that? How much processing power that would require? As well as whatever counterpart energy, that you're working with that complements this, the Trinity creation aspect, right? Where the divine is present within both the receptive and assertive aspects of the Trinity. In air, we have what you know to be true, your knowledge that you've acquired, what the level of understanding that you currently have, information that could be coming in, what's to become illuminated, what has been illuminated. And you know that you're to be some kind of you are leading, you have a mission, and in that mission you're to overcome, to learn, to understand something that will unlock that knowledge for your soul tribe, your soul family. So you are mastering one part of this so that the others can all have that, and then they master their one part, and then everybody can understand that. It's almost like a groupthink, a hive mind almost kind of sense. And, you're a leader in that. This is definitely something that has been divinely supported. Now, there's been a lot of other energies that have been at play to work on the divine's behalf to assist in supporting this progress to this moment. And yet again, there's to be this illumination if you're open to receiving the information, which assertively at this moment, you're hurt. You're not open to it. You're not open to manifesting. You're really not sure if you want to go into this leadership role if this is what you're presented with. You're on the fence at this point with what you're perceiving. So you're not assertively manifesting what, it's possible that the divine would like you to be giving your energy to. And you're not necessarily certain that you want to become this leader at this point, if this is what life is going to be like in your earth state, where you're being observed, you're being watched, and everything you do is being judged and weighed. And everything just flipped on you the moment that, you get to see a bit more clearly what's actually going on around you. And that's because what you're observing is somehow you feel almost like, abandoned or betrayed by it. So that's really got you in this knowledge space. If this is not something I'm content with it by any means, I don't want to own this as my state. In the receptive aspects, because you're just not really open to this at this moment with what you've kind of gathered, is this concept of releasing the past, bringing the new. There's conflict within this space. Because in order to truly let go of the past, you would have to forget it. And the past is part of what has made you who you are. The people you've loved, the traumas you've experienced, the happiest moments in your life, the worst moments, your mundane routines that have allowed you to feel comfortable at times. These all culminate in who you are. So when you find something in your history, in your past that was so beautiful and strong and positive, to be asked to forget it is not really possible from a human perspective. To forget it would radically change who you are, especially if you've rediscovered it. It's a conundrum that is quite hard to just be like, oh yeah, sure, it's nothing, like, just changing a light bulb, it'll be fine, like, just give me a minute and I will forget everything you want me to and only retain what you want me to. This kind of frustration is present here because you're not actively open to not having this aspect present. And you're not even receptive to it not coming in. Like, this is something that you're not willing to wiggle on. But you are receptive to putting in the work to get from point A to point B, as long as that is the destination that you're working towards. And right now, what you have seen in the Earth placement, in that reflection of what the co-creation is currently at, you're not happy with what you're seeing at all. And part of it is, it's as though you haven't been being listened to at all. So you're very frustrated, you're very concerned, you're very upset. Now, what just came through for me here was that this vampiric energy that you just found your way free of in one of my previous readings that led into the whole juggernaut manifestation, this is something that is part of that momentum, bringing you to the table to consciously co-create, because what has been created was being created by that parasitic vampiric energy. It was presenting itself as you. So it was co-creating with divine and this other energy. And the reflection you're seeing is that co-creation. So in seeing this, you're hurt because of what you're seeing. You know specifically to your situation, but I gather that this is something that you love greatly, and you're observing it to be in quite a bit of pain and to be quite far from what you remember, this love and light in your history, what you recall this to be. So you're hurt by it. So in coming to this reading, you're gathering that maybe this is just a cry for help, for your input that you've been trying to get through, but because of that thing, it couldn't get through. Now you're there. Now you can help. Now you can assist. The placement of fire, it's the remembrance that you really do have the power to direct how the story goes, where it goes, what happens, what is said, and you are abundantly aware of this power as you just, you just freed yourself of that entity, that thing, right? That psychic vampire parasitic thing. So you're very aware that when you get to a certain point, your word is going to have effect, power, because you're backing with an incredible amount of emotional surety, certainty, and thus your mind is profoundly focused on what's behind your words. So they need your input to come to the table. They need to know what is good to keep, what is not to keep, what needs guidance, what does not need guidance. They need you to actively help in all of the input that they have been getting that hasn't been from you, they need from you. They've been getting from something that meant harm instead of good. So if something comes up and it irritates you, speak to it. In your mind, out loud, journal it, whatever you need to do to get that feedback to where it needs to go. because they need that input. And this energy, this aspect, this reflection that you're seeing probably is not very happy with where it is either. It is probably very muchly in need of your guidance because they don't know the way to get from point A to point B without you. Because you must co-create. So they're very vulnerable and they need your help right now. So your will, your desire, your passion. Shuffling the cards seems to really help focus my channeling. You could probably really hear the cards. This energy is probably very aware that they're not in a good way. They remember who they were. They remember what you were to each other. They remember. This energy in the reflection is the other half of the co-creation of that juggernaut momentum. You've been kept separate up till this point until there was that removal of that thing. There is so much passion right now present in the will as you're going through this reading, and your understanding, your knowledge. The picking and choosing of what to keep and what not to keep. So that next time you're in a position like this, you will know the deceptive energy for what it is and be able to use that knowledge if this deceptive energy does not know that you know this, you know this. And you'll be able to use that to your advantage to protect yourself in this Trinity, this co-creation. And because we are beings of 3D, the elements are another means through which the divine can speak through us, through the Trinity, can help support us to create, to understand, to gain knowledge. Okay, so in the assertive energy, there is definitely like a passion towards, it's got to be better than what I've been experiencing. And this is coming from that other energy, like on the other side of the mirror. It's a lot of confusion, and they know that some aspect of them must go. Some aspects must be allowed to be divinely lifted from them so that they can gain clarity. And it's not just divine. There is going to be a level of personal willpower of the energy in this reflection. It's not going to be you make a decision, and divine makes a decision, and the other aspect of it just has to go along with it. No. You're not going to settle for that, and neither with this other energy, and divine's not okay with that. However, this parasitic entity was completely okay with that. So if you're feeling that, if they're feeling that, if you're getting that kind of a feedback, it's because it's what the dynamic has been. And you're wanting to come in with more of a balanced approach because it's what you long for yourself. So you're going to do what you can to provide it, but that doesn't mean you're going to take shit. You're going to have that approach of, I'm going to be open and compassionate, but I'm not going to take no crap. That's where the boundary is. That's where like if certain things occur in this dynamic, you'll say, that is not acceptable. That I reject that. That I will not be happy with. And they have the ability to make those decisions on their side as well. So it's getting to a point where they feel that they can confidently make decisions on that front. Right now, they're very vulnerable, and the manifestation is very vulnerable. So it's very important to Now that you know what's going on, that it's not just, oh, it's that thing back again, that in and of itself can invite it back in. I invite you not to do that. I implore you not to do that. That was part of its plan. You're firmly tapped into the divine. And because of that, you will always trust your intuition to know where the love is present within a situation. You are, very tapped in. We have a balance of both the high priest and the high priestess in this reading as well. So you are definitely being guided, and it's because this is a very unusual situation, and it deserves to have the balance present within the guidance of assertive and receptive masters to aid you, to help you see what's before you and what's needed. Okay. And that the card that comes out that really reminds me of the mudra Purana in the Buddhist tradition of to be open and receptive, but simultaneously setting that boundary and saying, I'm not going to suffer fools. Or another more like modern way of putting it is, I'm not going to let something take my peace from me. I don't let it get that close. Kind of a deal. But I will be open, I will be caring, I will be compassionate, but I will not let it take my peace. This can be applied in many different ways to different things, to dynamics, to projects, to money. Like there's a certain point where you just do not let things get to. You don't let your bank balance go into a negative, right? There is being presented in the element of water. This is something you're feeling, definitely. And there seems to be a lack of a sensation or feeling of abundance. And this is in the material as well as in the relationship. Like love, connections, friendships, like just all around. Like you've been in hermit mode long enough that these are things that just, they're not feeling very present, and you're very aware of that. Like you've been in a drought, and this is not your will. This was something that was imposed upon you by the decisions that this vampiric parasitic entity was putting into the mix of the co-creation, but now you're consciously at that table. It's gone. Your decisions now, what you put into it, will begin to turn that tide from drought to abundance. Okay. So you've probably been, like, even in like the readings that we've had, you have been observed. You're known. You have arrived. You are celebrated because you are this leader that is breaking through a lot of these restrictions, and you're co-creating that to the point that you have, between you and this other energy and the divine, that co-creation, there has been such a building of power and energy and emotion and focus that you've been able to really bring that momentum forward, knowing that a juggernaut, once it gets going, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It's always going to have momentum forward. It will never stop. Spiritually speaking, you pack a punch. You and your soul tribe and everyone who's learning from you the more that they like understand these lessons, it'll be unstoppable. It's pretty much why there's been so much energy and why this is so unique, that this parasitic entity was able to present itself as though it was you. It was known that it wasn't, but it was presenting itself as such. Very rare, very rare. You are feared because of this, and that momentum has begun. That momentum has begun. So you have a bit of anxiety around that awareness because you've experienced the extremely dark and malevolent aspects to what being on the spiritual stage in the physical reality can bring to you. What could be brought to your attention and what is coming towards you because you've been brought to theirs. You have anxiety around this. Not because you necessarily think that you will be harmed or hurt in the same way. You've done that. What it is there's a reason you've been in hermit mode. You have this past where you've learned that if this is an energy that comes towards you, maybe I don't go there again. It's not worth it. Why do it? But the divine is letting you know you're on that stage and you're having anxiety about being there. That this is a good thing, that you are not alone, you are safe, you are protected, you are here. You will not be hurt, you will not be harmed. We're waiting is pretty much what I'm getting. We're waiting to hear what you have to share. We're needing to know what you know is coming in from this audience. If you're on the stage, they're needing your truth, your knowledge. They're hungry for that. But you are very aware that something is not in balance, and it's needing your conscious energy, your focus, your decision, your emotion to begin to bring it into a more loving, nurturing state of being. This process, a lot of it is very private, and it's only between, the Trinity aspect, the divine, the receptive, and the assertive energies present within this manifestation relationship, within the self, as well as being mirrored outside of self. But what is needed to be shared with the masses, the soul tribe, the collective that is seeking to understand so they can help themselves too, in the 5D, they're observing and learning. However, through osmosis, it may feel to the conscious aspect of these souls and how they have incarnated in this reality. They are learning through osmosis. And as this happens, the juggernaut manifestation, the unstoppable momentum continues to gain momentum and continues to gain momentum and continues to gain momentum. So the juggernaut is waiting for your energy to be added to it so that this can continue to come forward and have others add theirs. Is there any other advice? Oh, actually, I'm getting archangels are wanting to come through. It's been a minute since I've had that. Okay. Can I get 3 cards and a crossing card? What guidance would the archangels like to provide, the divine like to provide through the archangels today, as archangels, their manifestations, aspects of the divine? So what aspects to the divine should the collective at this point in their journey, moving forward in this journey, be really reaching towards for guidance? Okay. Leadership, counselor. So we have Archangel Gabriel. And this is a quote: "It is time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others." Archangel Azrael, you are a natural counselor. Many people benefit from your guidance and reassurance. We have Gabriel again asking you to focus on nurturing. This may be relationships. In specific, there seems to be either a child or an energy that you feel very protective of. It could be an inner child of another individual, your own inner child. As you nurture a child, you nurture your own inner child. Both activities are important for you right now. And, yesterday's short was around really trying to engage and play. With the Azrael counselor, it's this definite connection with a higher power, higher beings, your higher self, the ascended masters. We are all connected. We are all part of the divine. So, oh, beautiful. Okay, we actually got two here. I was only going for one. But these two are paired. And that would be the invitation to both teach and to be open to learning, in knowing that you're overcoming these difficulties. So the teaching and the learning is Archangel, forgive me if I pronounce this a little funny, I'm not really sure. So Zadkiel, keep an open mind and learn new ideas, then teach these ideas to others. Overcoming difficulties is this beautiful feather and this beautiful white bird taking flight over the mountains into the stormy, cloudy skies, and there's a light that this bird is flying towards. Archangel Jeremiel, the worst is now behind you. You are surmounting any previous challenges. So you are launching right now. You are launching this manifestation that is going to continue to only gather more and more momentum as more and more people, more and more souls learn from you in this process how to free themselves from their own parasitic psychic vampire, what do you call those? Impersonators. Impersonators, yeah, they could all be pretending to be these people in the 5D, and they're creating the manifestation the way they want it, and it's not really the way you want it. So yeah, I'm all about that, right? So freedom, the worst is behind you, and you are supported, you are guided. You need to, if you're being triggered by something going on, to have a way that you reach to the divine, to know that you're tapped into the divine, that allows your conscious mind to kind of calm a little bit and be able to read in between the lines and be open to divine interpretation and message in between those lines. Something to distract your conscious mind so your higher self and your subconscious can be heard, which is the way through which the divine will reach you. This will help you see what's really going on and what is needed before you fully react and respond. Now, the first time this happens, we're human. If we're doing this consciously, it might really throw us for a loop the first time. So please be kind to yourself. Please be compassionate with yourself. Because this is very disorienting. And why wouldn't it be? But it matters a lot to you. It matters a lot to a lot of other beings as well. Because we need more love in this world. We need a lot more love in this world. This world would only benefit from more focus on peace and love and being grounded and nurturing of ourselves, our world, and everyone around us. Thank you very much for being present for this reading, for receiving this message. I do hope you found some clarification, some guidance, and some affirmation of your own intuitive discernment. Namaste.